Hello and welcome to the Minimum Competence episode for Tuesday, October 3rd, 2023. I'm your host for today, Andrew Leahy, a tax and technology attorney from New Jersey. In today's episode, we have Kirkland promoting the largest partner class ever, X, and they're formerly Twitter, sued by another X social media company, and Trump reaped $100 million through fraud. Let's breeze through this with ease, where this refers to reading today's legal news. On this day in legal history, October 3rd, 1965, President Lyndon Johnson signed into law the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965. The Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, also known as the Hart-Celler Act, marked a shift in U.S. immigration policy. Signed into law by President Lyndon B. Johnson, the act abolished the national origins formula, which had been in place since the 1920s and favored immigration from Western and Northern Europe. This change came during the height of the civil rights movement and was seen as a step toward ending racially discriminatory immigration policies. The act introduced a 7-category preference system that prioritized family reunification, professionals with specialized skills, and refugees. Before the 1965 Act, U.S. immigration policy was heavily skewed towards preserving American homogeneity. Laws like the Chinese Exclusion Act of 1882 and the Immigration Act of 1924 had been enacted to limit immigration from Asia, Southern Europe, and Eastern Europe. The 1965 Act was a response to both domestic and international pressures to end such discriminatory practices. It received bipartisan support, although there was notable opposition from Southern Democrats. For the first time, it also set a numerical limit on immigration from the Western Hemisphere, capping it at 120,000 per annum. The immediate effect of the act was a diversification of the immigrant population in the U.S., with increased numbers coming from Asia, Africa, and Eastern and Southern Europe. Despite its progressive steps, the act did not fully eliminate discrimination. For instance, members of the LGBTQ+ community were still denied entry on the grounds of being, quote, mentally defective until the Immigration Act of 1990. The act was signed into law at the foot of the Statue of Liberty, symbolically ending preferences for white immigrants that dated back to the 18th century. It laid the groundwork for the multicultural society that the United States is today, although it was not without its critics and limitations. Kirkland and Ellis, the world's leading law firm in terms of revenue, has set a new record by promoting 205 attorneys to partnership effective October 1st. This marks the 6th consecutive year the firm has broken its own record, with 193 lawyers promoted last year and 151 the year before that. Over the past decade, the size of the firm's partnership class has surged by more than 156%, growing from 80 new partners in 2013 to over 200 in 2023. The firm, founded in Chicago, reported a gross revenue of $6.5 billion in 2022 and profits per equity partner exceeding $7.5 million. Kirkland and Ellis also maintains a large tier of non-equity partners, distinguishing it as the most successful firm with such a structure. X Corp, formerly known as Twitter Inc., is facing a trademark infringement lawsuit filed by X Social Media LLC in a Florida federal court. The lawsuit alleges that X Corp was aware of X Social Media's pre-existing rights to the X trademark before undergoing a rebranding campaign in July led by owner Elon Musk. The rebranding has caused confusion among consumers, leading them to believe that X Social Media is associated with X Corp, according to the complaint. The name change is said to be financially and strategically harmful to X Social Media, which claims to have already lost revenue due to the rebranding. Founded in 2015, X Social Media specializes in connecting law firms with clients through social media platforms. The company has invested over $2 million in building its brand and owns the federal trademark registration for X Social Media, which it has used continuously for 5 years. The letter X in its name symbolizes the, quote, beginning of a life-changing journey towards justice, according to the company. X Social Media sent a cease and desist letter to X Corp in August, but the latter refused to comply. X Corp has also applied for 7 trademark registrations with the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. The lawsuit against X Corp is not an isolated incident. Other tech companies have faced similar legal challenges following rebranding efforts. For example, Meta Platform Inc.'s 2021 name change from Facebook led to multiple lawsuits, including from a VR company and a blockchain group. Similarly, Block Inc., formerly Square, settled a trademark dispute with H&R Block Inc. earlier this year. The civil fraud trial against former U.S. President Donald Trump has commenced in New York, with the state's Attorney General Letitia James accusing Trump of generating over $100 million through fraudulent means related to his real estate empire. James is seeking at least $250 million in fines and a permanent ban on Trump and his sons from running businesses in New York. The case revolves around allegations that Trump inflated the value of his assets and net worth between 2011 and 2021 to secure favorable bank loans and lower insurance premiums. Trump has vehemently denied the allegations, calling the case a scam and a sham, and accusing James and the presiding judge, Arthur Engoron, of political bias. And Gorin is hearing the case without a jury, and last week found Trump and his companies liable for fraud, including inflating the value of assets like Trump Tower and Mar-a-Lago. The trial will also review 6 additional claims, including falsifying business records and insurance fraud. The state's first witness was Donald Bender, a partner at Mazars USA and a longtime accountant for Trump's businesses. Bender testified that he relied on information provided by Trump and his companies when compiling Trump's personal financial statements. More than 150 people, including Michael Cohen, Trump's former personal lawyer, could testify in the trial, which is expected to run through early December. Trump's legal team countered that his financials were entirely legal and that there was no intent to defraud. They argued that disagreements over asset valuations do not necessarily constitute fraud. This trial is one of several legal challenges Trump is currently facing, including criminal charges in Washington, Georgia, Florida, and New York for various alleged offenses. Trump has denied all wrongdoing and pleaded not guilty in all cases. And with that, I thank you so much for listening to Minimum Competence, your daily news podcast for lawyers. If you're looking for more than Minimum Competence, links to further reading on all the topics touched on today are in the show notes. If you have any questions or story suggestions, you can find us on Mastodon on the esq.social instance. I'm at Andrew, and my co-host Gina is at Gina. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of the host and do not represent those of any organization we may be affiliated with. Nothing here should be construed as legal advice because it is certainly not legal advice. And reviews go a long way towards helping new listeners to find our show. If you have a moment and can leave a rating or review on your podcast player, we'd sure appreciate it. And if you know someone that might be interested in a story we cover, consider sending them the episode. Minimum Competence is available at minimumcomp.com and wherever you get your finely crafted podcasts. If you haven't checked out the website in a while, give it a look. There are complete transcripts and resources for each episode and its corresponding segments, as well as an opportunity to receive new episodes in email newsletter form. All of the links to stories we cover will also be available on links.esq.social, which is our link aggregator in the Fediverse. We'll see you back here tomorrow, and until then, remember, life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself.